Previously on the Black Couch.
What if all that people want to become, they recognize that they can't get it through school or through a system,
Through the school system.
that passes on information? What if that were a truth for someone? What if they have goal visions of themselves already written out? What if they have the course of action to attain those visions, and school as we know it isn't a part of it? Because our ancestors were able to do it without school.
That's true. That's true.
And develop the faculty of their mind.
Right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Black Couch, and thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in again for another week as we continue the conversation with Dr. Walter Lee concerning education and entrepreneurship. Those of you who are new to this channel, definitely subscribe to this channel, as well as like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram at the_black_couch, and the same thing on Facebook, the Black Couch. As well, you can find us now on podcast networks as Apple Podcasts and Google Play as #Black Couch. That's #Black Couch. So if you Google us, definitely #Black Couch is definitely gonna come up under Spreaker and under YouTube. You got the right channel, so continue to support us, and let's go back to the show. Right. Why do you feel that our ancestors was able to accomplish things without school, right? But then there was a generation that came that they told us to actually go to school. What do you think that they saw in the educational process that would be better for us versus the way they, maybe because they didn't have access to it, or how do you feel?
So
in that aspect?
The way I positioned my research, I evaluated some schools and communities in the 50s, 60s, and 40s prior to Brown versus Board of Education. And what I noticed is there were schools whose values were centered around self-esteem, self-concept, perseverance. They taught soft skills. In the absence of standards, they taught soft skills. And nowadays we teach standards. And we have multiple exams.
Right.
Perhaps we have to consider now, what are some of the soft skills that are lacking in educational settings nowadays?
Do you? This is a good conversation, because you're saying that they taught soft skills, they taught the self-confidence, but sometimes now what we teach now is breaking down those things. You know, having to take an exam, but then maybe if you don't meet that requirement, it does something to your psyche. You know, it does something to your mind. Going back to entrepreneurship, because you have to get past that in order to make your business work.
You know, I even see it as school nowadays teaches you to be a consumer.
Let's talk about that.
In math, I remember teaching and stepped into a math classroom, and she was saying, okay, well, how much would it cost? If this is the cost for the apartment and this is how much you make, can you afford it? Now, they were teaching the standards.
Yeah, that's true.
Looking at percentages, looking at ratios and things as such. But what they were honing in on is, can I afford that? What my mom learned was how to cook, how to wash clothes, how to balance a checkbook, none of which are taught in the K through 12 settings now. In fact, they've taken those home economics classrooms, what was a home economics classroom, and converted it to a teacher's lounge where teachers can meet and cook and have a good time.
Off the things that they learn.
Off of the things that they learn. Or general classrooms.
Wow.
In that fashion. So at this point, we're taught to be consumers. Our ancestors were taught, and immediate family members were taught to be self-sufficient.
Right. That's true.
So we're taught to be consumers.
That's true.
In order to take this class, you got to buy this book. You're taught to be a consumer from day one. What do I have to buy to get information? That, not saying that you shouldn't buy books and read it, because you really should.
Right.
But look at some of the skills that we lose over time, and look at what's being developed.
I get it.
As a byproduct of what exists.
I get it.
So, and it's not a fault of anyone's. It's just an observation that we should consider.
Yeah. I get it. That was a good conversation, Dr. Lee.
Yeah.
Dr. Walt. So,
and what they taught me was to be self-sufficient.
Right.
Because my parents no longer relied on the school to do it because they owned it.
Right.
You can wash dishes today. Go ahead and cook something. Make sure the room is clean by such and such time. They deputized us to our own sufficiency, to our own capacity.
That's true. I know one of the things that helped me with my transition was the moment. Two things happened. I couldn't afford to stay on campus. Had to find my own place. So that was one thing. And the second thing, even in that, my father no longer needed the car that he was driving. I needed more than he did. So I took it back. We had a normal routine. I took it back to him. It's like, okay, I'm bringing the car back. He's like, well, I don't need it anymore. Now, the bad thing about it was when I didn't realize how much I depended on my parents still. Right. I brought it back on E. And he was like, I don't need it anymore. You can take it back. So now I got to figure out how to put gas in the car and make it back home.
Right.
So it was things like that that they didn't give me the money for my books for next semester and stuff like that. It was like it wasn't a conversation. It was like, okay, you're on your own now, and it was like I'm not cutting you off. It's just you got to learn how to make it through the next portions of your life. And that's where I learned how to manage money. That's where because I was always a musician. I always made money.
Got it.
But I wasn't always the best manager of it.
Got it.
And how to go and negotiate. I never really. One of the last things I used to ask is how much I'm getting paid for an event. I never used to ask that
saying
question.
This is how much I want.
Right.
Or this is how much I know I'm worth.
And man, I didn't know any of that. I was just playing because I like to play. And if someone gave me something, they did. They didn't. I didn't. It wasn't a big thing for me.
Yeah.
But when it was time to actually do that, I didn't know how much I was worth.
Right. And so let's revisit a statement that I made earlier that what we do in business is an extension of how we see ourselves and how we feel we exist. Right. If I do not value how I show up, if I do not value the skills that I'm able, the service and products that I'm able to offer, if I do not value myself and my time, more than likely the price that I charge will reflect that.
That's good.
So
that's good.
All of it comes back here. Or if you get upset because people underpay you, well, what should you be paid? And until you answer that question and you can beg why you should receive that amount, why you're worth that amount, then you don't deserve to be frustrated.
That's true. That's true.
Why choose frustration?
That's true.
Make another choice.
That's true.
And I do want to backtrack to one thing because I don't want to seem as though I'm anti-education, really. Why would I be anti-education? Because the systems that exist now do help to birth things such as perseverance, drive, patience. Being at Claflin and having to wait in the financial aid line for hours before they tell you that you still have to get a loan. I mean, gosh, you do learn some of those soft skills there. Yeah. So I'm not anti-education, not by any means. I need to clarify that because someone will come back and criticize it.
I'm with you, 100%. And I just believe the conversation need to be had, and how you. One thing, of course, everyone. I don't know if everyone knows, but my daughter's coming. I have a daughter coming, and one thing that me and my wife talk about is we want to fuel what she's purposed to do. So education is going to follow that. If when it's come down to do private lessons and dance or if that's something that she's purposed to do, that's what we're going to fuel.
Right.
We're going to be very strategic. We didn't have the same opportunities.
Yeah.
I'll have access to certain things when rural towns, but I believe in the education that we have that we should focus our money and focus our resources to a specific thing or a specific area of things instead of going to a plethora of things, and then 80% of what you learn is not exactly fuel to that. You get what I'm saying? So like I said, the conversation should be had, especially with people who went through the education system. I'm still going through education.
Still going through.
So actually, I think we can wrap this session up.
I want to talk about the products.
Let's talk about
what inspired it.
Yeah,
what inspired it.
Let's get that.
So I was in my PhD program at Clemson, finalizing. The stress and the cold air and all of that stuff will flare up eczema, and so I developed adult eczema. In the process of doing that, you go and you get creams and stuff from the doctor, triamcinolone, mesotone, all of this stuff that you can only apply X amount of times a day. You can't go out in the sunlight, and all of these different conditions. And I'm like, well, if I am getting it for a condition, why would it yield another condition to me? Why am I going to have darkened skin? Why is my skin going to get dry as a result of using this? Why should I not wear clothes on top of it because it may cause irritation? Like, the hell? So I started looking at natural-based ingredients and started trying it, and it kind of helped. And then I started looking at recipes and then going back and forth to the natural store to get stuff. And I didn't like it. And so after about 2 months, I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to try my own thing. So I decided to develop a recipe. I just went ahead and removed everything off the table and said, you know what, I'm just going to start afresh. That recipe right there, I don't like because this is what it does. I don't like these ingredients because when it interacts with this is what it produces. So I went back and started doing a lot of reflection. And after reflection, I was able to devise my own recipes. And I started making body butter, in which I only used it because it was for me.
Right.
I only wanted to use it for me. Yeah. Until I went home to family members. They're like, oh, I like your skin. It looks smooth. It looks moisturized. Are you itching it as much now? And I was like, no, I like it. And, well, I want some too. And I was like, no, I only make it for me. And I prided myself at one point in time to say I only make it for me.
Wow.
Well, I decided to make a couple jars for other people who said, I want more. But I only make it for me.
Right.
And finally, one of my friends said, Walter, this is how your other businesses got started, or your other brands got started. Because resume writing, I was out of work, and I was like, I'm good at writing. And I used to teach my kids how to write resumes. Let me see if I can do this. And when people started getting jobs because I was doing it for them for free, I said, wait a minute. I don't have work.
Yeah, benefit.
And so you know what? This person right here acknowledges that there's some value in what he can produce. So here's the price. And this is where you have to meet me if you want it. Back to the body butter. I started, made my first batch and just put it online and said, hey, I'm coming to the Low Country. I got some body butter. Ooh, what is that? Oh, it looks delicious. No, you don't eat it. It's the skin. So they started asking for it. And the first time I went home, I brought back over $300 off of my butter. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't expect this. I was like, there's something in this that I might need to build on.
Yeah.
So I focused on it a lot more, started working on packaging, looking on what to call it, because I didn't have the name, it was just body butter. And on my post, I just randomly put Dr. Walt's body butter. That sounds official. I was like, wait, what? This was just because I didn't have anything else to put in front of body butter.
Wow.
And so it started building, it started expanding, got packaging together and tried to build momentum and having people around me to affirm me and to push me and to motivate me.
Community.
All contributed to a launch party. And then now 12 months from developing eczema, 13 months away from that first experience with eczema and a PhD program, here I am now with products that would benefit those who have dry, itchy skin, or those who have natural hair through rose water, or who just want to cleanse their skin, or those who got crunchy lips.
Yeah, you have a very popular lip balm.
Popular lip balm. That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody. I'm not gonna say everybody likes it because everybody hasn't gotten it yet. Y'all need to go get it. Go get it. But it's very smooth. I've been told by others that it lasts them throughout the day. Now I don't care about it lasting throughout the day because every hour or so I'm just gonna rub it on anyway. I mean, predominantly because it's mine and I never run out, so I get to use as much as I want. But that's where I am now with Dr. Walt's Natural Essentials, and from that, people have been saying, you know, I got the body butter. I have the rose water. I need some soap. And so I started talking with friends. They asked me what I needed. And I told them what I needed. But it's all right. I'm not ready yet. They went out Black Friday and bought it. I want my soap next year. I'm like, but I'm not ready yet. I want my soap next year. I got all this other stuff. I need soap. Then you have people fussing about shampoo. And I want conditioner. And do you make a hair oil? And I'm like, wait. I never asked for all this. Only thing I wanted to do is make something for my eczema because it's only for me. And what I then found is that some of the best products are the ones that you use because you have a deficit, a need, a issue, or a problem, or you notice a need. So perhaps that's the starting ground for businesses, to notice a problem or to notice that something isn't done well. And so from that place of frustration for those who are entrepreneurs or those who do have visions and things as such, if you're in a position, in an environment, in a community, in a system, in a company, and you notice that something isn't going quite right, the question then is, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? Because I can choose to be frustrated, or I can make another choice. I can choose to be dejected, or I can make another choice. I can choose to be defeated, or I can make another choice. And please don't think that's something that I've mastered, because sometimes I have to sit myself down, calm myself down, and say, all right, now that you done got over that tantrum, what you gonna do? What other choices are there? And I think that frustration, that anxiety comes out of the fact that we think we're so limited when really we're not. Because we're from a well, we're from a seed, a gene, where the limitless power, limitless thoughts, limitless ideas, bottomless resources. And so if we come from that, then what is impossible for us? And I think it's because we perhaps haven't developed the faculty of our minds enough to solve our problems, or to even develop the humility enough to seek guidance from the problem solver, so that we can then activate the unction or the wisdom or the insight or revelation that we've received. So it's not a matter of just stopping there and being frustrated and crying. I use the word frustrated because that's where I was with a lot of stuff. Frustrated with clients because they keep asking for revisions over and over and over and over. Frustrated with the products because in the first couple sessions it didn't work out too well in the first couple batches, and I had to throw it out. And it's like, all right, I can be frustrated and I can choose to keep spending money and wasting money, or I can figure out what the heck is going on and make another choice. And so stepping back from that, looking at it from a different angle, and maybe even involving others. Involving others. Listen, this is what happened. This is what's happening. This is what I'm doing. I'm not getting the outcomes that I want. Something's wrong. Or maybe nothing's wrong. Something isn't working the way I want it to. Why isn't it working the way I want it to? Because it's not wrong as an indicator.
Yeah, it is. It is. I know another product that was intended for one thing and ended up being marketed for something totally different.
Beard butter. I mean, people are now asking for beard butter. Or they took the body butter and started putting it on their beard. And I'm like, well, I didn't really make it for that. But now I'm developing beard butter because they use it. And I'm like, no, I want to make something specifically for that. So it's amazing how you make one thing for one reason, and then it just kind of, get flipped into something else.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Man. So you talk about just that confidence. Confidence can do a lot because, as our conversation is, confidence can really, how they say that thing, peek through muddy waters and see dry light.
Yeah.
You know, you're making products that involve people's skin.
Mm-hmm.
That can be very interesting in thinking that how can I make something that won't hurt someone, that is intended to help, but just like you said, lawsuits be flying around all the
Absolutely.
time. You know, somebody put your product on and they a total different color, or their skin burning, or they have a medical reaction. Like, what gives you the confidence to say, well, you already said you used it for yourself,
right? That was,
but now
that was the fear factor
as a business. You know, considering those things. You know.
Reading a lot, researching a lot about
you
what products
are a
should
doctor,
work.
so
But
you know.
reading a lot, researching how these essential oils should be infused into carrier oils. You don't pour a whole bottle of lavender oil into a mixture because it needs to be diluted. Most oils less than 5%. Some are recommended for 2, some are recommended for 1. Secondly, I don't make medical claims. I used it because I had eczema. What I staged is itchy, dry skin. And last time I checked, that's not a medical condition. That's just a condition of skin.
That's good.
So knowing how I fall into compliance with the FDA. Thirdly, doing your work to protect yourself, because people use Irish Spring, people use Dove, people use Gold Bond, and when they get an outbreak, they throw the bottle away or they put it in the back of the cabinet. For some reason, when it comes down to others and people they may know, they may decide to get happy and take other means. You got to do your research and cover yourself.
That's true.
So that's where I stand. And after so many people were using it, and I saw that the results were about the same, it kind of amped me up a little bit more to make more decisions. In that it's okay to make it. Because at first I was scared out of my mind that, I only made this for me.
Right.
So I can only say it works for me.
Right.
But then I had to come to the realization that it was helping other people.
That's good.
And so I make sure that I stay true to those natural products, those natural oils, those natural butters. Some of the ingredients are organic. Some are not. Some are just natural.
I get it.
So
cool.
The confidence was boosted from that.
Gotcha.
Knowing that I've done my work.
And you have the education in the back. The education in your products. That's definitely important. To be well researched in your product. I know the conversation we had before was, how do you use your skill set that you actually learned in education into your business now? And you was talking about just educating your product, you know, allowing people to know, just like how you were just saying, like, you can't use a whole bottle of lavender oil and say, you know, this is what's going to work. But, you know, educating people in how your products work.
So at first I was a bit confused as to how I could go from PhD in education to chemist or herbalist. I didn't get it. And so I was a bit overwhelmed, to be honest, because I was like, I have a PhD in education. How in the world do I come over here and do this? Right. In fact, I was talking to my sister-in-law, and her mother was in the background and expressed the same. How you gonna go and get a PhD and now you sitting here making products? You should have just majored in chemistry. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And so what I challenged myself to do is figure out, how can I continue to use my formal education and infuse it in how I present my products. And often what I found is that when I'm vending somewhere, or either online, people will ask, what is body butter? That becomes a classroom. What is rose water? That becomes a classroom. Right then, right there, whether it's in person, through text message, through the DM, through Messenger on Facebook, through comments. That is my opportunity to educate.
Cool. So how can we get your product?
So you can get my products by going to www. ImpactfulLLC.com. Again, that's www.impactfulllc.com. And when you get on the website, be sure to subscribe, because once you subscribe, whenever there are coupons that are coming out of sales, usually my subscribers are privy to that kind of information.
Gotcha.
And you get a coupon immediately for subscribing to.
That's good.
So to help you in that initial purchase, there's a coupon waiting in your inbox as soon as you push subscribe.
That's good. Social media.
How
can we contact
you? Impactful LLC. That's on Facebook and that's on Instagram. Impactful LLC. So it's the same. So if you ever forget it and you go to the website, there are tabs there to remind you.
Gotcha.
And if you go to Facebook, there are tabs there to remind you of how to get to Facebook and how to get to the website. And if you go to Instagram, there are tabs to remind you as to how to get to Facebook as well. And it's the same everywhere. Impactful LLC.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Walt, this has been an excellent conversation.
Yes, it has been.
On the Black Couch. And get his product. I mean, the guy is well learned. The guy is well studied. The guy knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely, thank you for being a part of this.
No problem.
Had
fun.
The first show
of the 2019. 18 or 19? See, we got to remember stuff now.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Cool.